My name is Anna. 2 years ago, I moved to a small village with my husband, Max. We wanted to live closer to nature. The fresh air, the river, and the beautiful forest nearby made this place feel like paradise. It was peaceful, and we loved it. We dreamed of having children soon, and we believed this was the perfect place for them to grow up. Not long after we moved in, we met our neighbors, John and Lisa. They were the same age as us, and like us, they didn't have children. We quickly became friends and started doing things together: picnics by the river, long walks, and even mushroom hunting in the forest. Life was simple, and everything felt perfect. John worked far away, often leaving for weeks or even months at a time. Lisa, left alone for long periods, sometimes felt lonely. She started asking for help with small things around the house. Max and I always tried to assist her whenever she needed. At first, it was just little things, fixing a leaky faucet or helping with her garden, but soon, I noticed a change. Lisa started asking Max for help more and more. She would call him over for the smallest reasons: changing a light bulb, moving furniture, or fixing something that didn't even seem broken. At first, I thought nothing of it. Max was a kind and helpful person, and I trusted him completely. Then, something strange happened. Lisa started dressing differently when Max was around. Instead of her usual casual clothes, she began wearing elegant dresses, fixing her hair, and putting on makeup. She would smile at Max in a way that made my stomach twist. I tried to ignore it, telling myself I was overthinking, but deep down, a small seed of doubt had been planted. Max didn't seem to notice anything unusual at first. He truly believed he was just helping a neighbor. But as time passed, he started spending longer and longer at Lisa's house. Sometimes, I would wait for him, wondering why he was taking so long. When I asked, he would simply say, "Lisa needed help with something." His words sounded innocent, but something inside me whispered that something was wrong. One day, I finally asked, "Max, why do you spend so much time at Lisa's house?" He looked surprised. "I'm just helping her out," he said. "She's alone, and John is always away." I nodded, pretending to accept his answer, but the uneasy feeling didn't go away. From that day on, I started watching them more closely. Whenever Max went to Lisa's house, I found reasons to go over too. Every time I visited, Lisa acted normal, but I could see it, the way she looked at Max. It wasn't just friendly anymore. There was something else in her eyes, something that made my heart ache. Then, one evening, Max came home late again. I stood by the door, waiting. "Where were you?" I asked. He sighed. "Lisa needed help with her car," he said. I stared at him, my heart pounding. I wanted to believe him, but I couldn't. A storm of emotions swirled inside me: fear, anger, sadness. I didn't say anything, but deep inside, I knew the truth. Something was happening, and it was only a matter of time before it all came to light. I started having dreams about Lisa. In my dreams, she was always trying to take Max away from me. I would wake up feeling angry and scared. I knew I had to talk to Max again, but I didn't know how to begin. One day, I saw Max and Lisa talking outside. They were standing too close, and Lisa was laughing in a way that made my heart race. I couldn't take it anymore. I walked outside and asked them what was going on. Lisa smiled at me, but it wasn't a friendly smile. "Oh, Anna, we were just talking about the garden," she said. I looked at Max, waiting for him to say something, but he didn't. He just looked guilty. That night, I told Max everything I was feeling. I told him I didn't like the way Lisa was acting and how much time he was spending with her. He was quiet for a while, and then he said, "I'm sorry, Anna. I didn't realize how much it was bothering you." Hearing him apologize made me feel a little better, but I still wasn't sure if I could completely trust him again. After that conversation, Max tried to avoid Lisa. He stopped going to her house as often, and I noticed that Lisa began spending more time alone. Weeks passed, and things seemed to go back to normal. But I still couldn't stop thinking about what had happened. I trusted Max, but I didn't trust Lisa. I knew she had wanted something more. And I was glad I spoke up before things went too far. Even though Max promised to stop helping her so much, I still felt uneasy every time he went outside. I didn't want to be the kind of wife who always watched her husband, but I couldn't help it. One day, Lisa came over to our house with a cake in her hands. She smiled sweetly. "Hi, Anna," she said. "I made this for you and Max. I hope you like it." I forced a smile and took the cake. "Thank you, Lisa," I said. "Is Max home?" she asked, looking around to see if he was inside. I wanted to say no, but I knew Max was just in the next room. "Yes, he's here," I said, feeling my heart beat faster. "But he's busy right now." Lisa looked disappointed when I told her Max was busy. But she quickly smiled again. "Oh, okay, I'll leave you two to enjoy the cake. Let me know if you need anything," she said, waving as she left. I closed the door and felt a strange mix of relief and worry. I didn't want Lisa to come between Max and me, but she seemed to always try to stay close to him. That night, I told Max about Lisa bringing the cake over. He laughed a little and said, "I think she's just being friendly. You don't have to worry." But I wasn't so sure. The way Lisa smiled at him and the way she spoke to him didn't seem friendly to me. I decided that the best thing to do was to keep a distance from her. The next week, Max returned to his usual routine, helping around the house, working in the garden, and spending time with me. I felt happy that things were starting to feel normal again. We talked more, went on walks together, and everything seemed fine. But then, one day while Max was at work, I saw Lisa at the store. She came over to me and said, "You know, Anna, your husband is very helpful. I don't know what I would do without him." Her words made me uncomfortable, but I smiled politely. "Yes, he's a good man," I replied. Lisa laughed softly. "He's more than just good, isn't he? You're very lucky to have him." I didn't like the way she said that, but I didn't want to argue. I just nodded and said, "Yes, I am." For the next few weeks, Lisa didn't come around as much. Max and I started spending more time together, and I felt like our relationship was getting stronger. I wanted to believe everything was okay, but part of me still didn't trust Lisa. One afternoon, Max came home from work and told me that John, Lisa's husband, was coming back soon. I felt relieved. I hoped that once John was back, Lisa would stop trying to get close to Max. When John returned, everything seemed to change. Lisa stopped asking Max for help, and we didn't see her much anymore. It felt like a huge weight had lifted off my shoulders. It seemed like the problem had solved itself. Max and I continued to enjoy our life in the village. We went on trips together, worked in the garden, and talked about starting a family. I was happy again and began to forget about the whole situation with Lisa. One evening, as we were sitting outside, watching the sunset, I looked at Max and felt so grateful. I realized that I needed to trust him more. He had always been there for me, and I knew he loved me. I didn't want my fears to ruin what we had. I turned to Max and said, "I'm sorry if I ever doubted you." Max looked surprised. "Doubted me? Why?" I smiled. "Because I love you, and I know you would never hurt me." Max took my hand and said, "I love you too, Anna. I would never do anything to hurt you." From that moment, I felt peace in my heart. Lisa had been just a small part of our story, but Max and I were building something much bigger, our life together. As time passed, we stopped thinking about Lisa. John and Lisa moved away a few months later because John got a new job in the city. After they left, life in the village became peaceful again. Max and I started talking more seriously about having children. And we looked forward to the future. In the end, I learned that trust and communication are the most important things in a relationship. No matter what challenges come our way, I know Max and I can get through them together. If you enjoyed the story, please like, subscribe, and share.